Hello everyone, in this video I want to talk a little bit about callbacks and how to use them in Java. I think still many people doesn't use callbacks. Maybe they don't have like specific use cases for that, but I want to show you like they are not scary and how to use them in our custom use case. Our use case will be uploading employee DTO, so employee data to API. Of course, we're gonna fake that. We're not going to build a real API, but we're going to like a mimic situation when the employee data is uploaded to REST API to store employee data, for example. And we're going to have like at least 2 callbacks. I want to show you how to use like more than one. Using one is classic example, but what if there's are different stories, happy path and unhappy path, for example, and we want to use different callbacks for different situations. For example, the happy path will be where we uploaded the employee data to API and API is returning success. So that's going to be like one callback on success, and we're going to process that. And what if there's something went wrong and API throw an error, and we're going to use different callback in that situation to process error, for example, right? So let's start now by creating our main class callback demo. I'm gonna name it callback demo. Like I said, we're going to upload some data, so we need like a service to upload data to API, and we're going to call that class API uploader. And API uploader will have like for now public method which will return upload response, for example. We're going to create that class in hours. We're going to name that method upload to the API, and that method will accept employee DTO, for example, and will perform like sending that employee DTO data to API. Let's give some information. Uploading employee to API. We should use logs, but I don't want to mess up the code, and I will use just simple printout statements. I don't really have to do that, but we want to see in a terminal what's happening here. So this method will, after successful upload, will return something for us. So that's going to be new. Like we said before, upload response, and let's imagine the API is returning with JSON that has 2 values, which one will be the new employee ID, which will be UID, and second is the status. So let's pretend we have that one, and the status is uploaded, right? So we have to create that class. Let's create the package response, and to response let's create that class in upload response. Upload response, like I said, will be simple private string ID and private string status text. We'll create constructor for that, and some getters. We want that method to be kind of safe, like thread safe, so we're creating just getters, no setters, right? We can use a record, but let's stick with that one. So we pull in that one, we add the import, let's create now employee DTO. So here we create a new package. Employee DTO, that's going to be simple as well. Private string first name, last name, and private, for example, integer, salary. Although we should use like decimal, but let's stick with integer for simplicity. Let's create constructor for that DTO and maybe some getters as well. Right, so that's done. Nothing exotic happening here. So yeah, we have now the happy path, right? So that's when for example, that's going to be to like a REST template to push data to a REST API, and that's the happy path. But we want to, like I said, use callbacks for happy path. And what if something went wrong? So we want to use another callback for sorry, for the not happy path. So for the purpose of that, we want to mimic like API fail. So let's introduce new variable. Let's call it like force fail. That's going to be boolean force file force fail, private final boolean force fail. We have to add that to constructor. So when we creating the API uploader class, we'll pass true or false. if there's a false there, we want to mimic some failure. So we throw new runtime exception, for example. Let's give that message there, simulated API fail. Or for example, if our DTO is null, we want to throw new legal argument exemption. Employee DTO can't, if I could write it, can't be null. So I have two cases. So here, if the API, for example, throws an error, we're going to use one callback for unhappy path, and for the happy path, we're going to use, like for example, on success callback. So yeah, we have those. We need to go back to our callback demo. I have to go back to callback demo, and let's create here a method, public static void run upload. Let's name that function like this, and we have to pass few arguments into that method. First one will be employee DTO, right? Because we want to upload the DTO. Second will be API uploader. So our class to upload the stuff to API, and here we're going to add our callbacks. So we're going to use consumer as a functional interface. Let's jump into that one. Consumer, which accepts one method, accept, and that method accept the instance of a class T. Class T is up to us what we're going to pass there, right? So those are generics, as we know, and that is a functional interface. We can create our own functional interfaces, no worries. Maybe we can try that as well. So one consumer will be on success. So when everything, yep, on success, and the second one, like I said, will be on fail, when something went wrong with the API upload. But here we see the underscore. Of course, we have to pass some types here, And for on success, for the happy path will be what can be our um, argument will be upload response, right? Because API uploader on happy path is returning upload response, and under unhappy path is throwing some exception, and all those exceptions are actually extending the exception class. So here on unhappy path we're going to accept exception. Why like that? We can't just accept one specific class here, because here we throw in runtime exception, illegal argument exception, or maybe there will be different even type of exception. Maybe we can create our own exception. Actually, we should create our own exceptions because this runtime exception is very generic. So maybe we can create exception called API upload exception. So when there's like something went wrong with API upload, the method will throw that exception. But let's stick with runtime exception for now. So here we have our method run upload, and here we will try to do something during happy path, and with unhappy path we will catch actually that exception. So here will be on fail and here will be on success, right? Because we want to use that callback when everything is fine with upload, and that callback when something is wrong. So on success we have one method accept, and we're going to accept some result, right? Because that accept needs some arguments here, right? So let's call it result, and we have to create that result. So result will be which type? Of course that type, upload response, and that will be API uploader upload to API method. That method is returning upload response, like I said before. So that's the type of the result variable. So of course we are passing DTO because upload to API expect to get employee DTO as argument. So we pass in that one from here, right? I hope that is very clear. Nothing exotic here. And on fail also is consumer, so also have accept, but as an argument is accepting what exception? So is accepting our E variable, because that variable is of type exception. I hope that's clear as well. So yeah, and yeah, that should be actually fine for now. Let's create main method here, and main method will actually do some fancy job for us. So let's create a DTO, employee DTO, let's call it DTO equals new employee DTO, and that's gonna be first name Adam Smith, and his salary is gonna be 45,000. He doesn't earn much. Adam Smith is probably economist. So basic salary in London, 45,000 quid. So yeah, and we have to create API uploader. Maybe not like that. Yeah, maybe we can create API uploader class, new API uploader, like that. And this one needs some arguments. We said like we want to mimic that API error, so we have to pass true or false here. So let's create Boolean variable with the name fail, which equals false for now. So we want to use the happy path and use the unsuccess callback. And yeah, now we can actually run the run upload method. She needs like few arguments. So first one will be DTO, as we know. The second one is API uploader that we created here. And this one we will have callbacks, right? So one callback on success and one callback if something is wrong with the upload. So this one will like result, this one needs some parameter, this one will be result, and this one will be, for example, error, right? Like we said, this one is unhappy path. So when everything is fine, what we want to do, what our method actually did, let's jump in and see API uploader. Oh yeah, API uploader actually returned that upload response. So we have UUID of newly added employee. So we can do something with it, with the response, because our response is basically upload response. So let's print it out. Employee ID is result. Get ID. Remember our result. Oh, we have suggestion here is actually upload response type. So we're going to print the ID of newly added employee and error. Error, we can do some print statement as well. There was like error, and we can get the get message, so we can get message what is actually the error there. And yeah, that should be fine. Let's run the code and see how it works. So I hope you can see here. Okay, I'm gonna make it bigger. So we uploading employee to API. That was the message here. So we're pretending like there's an API upload, and in happy path on success, right? We're getting that UUID of the newly added user. We have the response with user, and we can also jump in here and status message. What's the message of the response? Get status, and let's rerun it again. So as you can see, yeah, we have the UUID. It's different than before because we don't have like real database upload, and here the status is uploaded, just what we expected. And let's change that value to true. So let's pretend like there's some API error, and we using API uploader class with true here, true value, Boolean of course. And yeah, we have here like upload to API, and suddenly error, simulated API upload fail, because our force fail is true now. So we throw in an error, and there's no actually proper response. No, the correct upload response is not returned from the method. The code stops here because it's throwing an exception. And yeah, so basically that's it. That's the purpose. That's how you're using actually callbacks. You can do different stuff here, like for example, let's maybe add here a new callback, which actually I'm using quite a lot of word actually, isn't it? Actually, I'm using that actually. Yeah, so let's do like another callback here. Finalize cleaning all the data, unused data, whatever that is. So yeah, we don't have that thing here, so we have to go to run upload method, and let's create our custom callbacks. Custom callback that will be, let's call the class finalizer callback. Like I said, that should be a functional interface with one method that will be void, and let's call it finito. Finito, no arguments there. Yeah, sorry, that should be actually interface. That's why we that's why we're having those errors. That shouldn't be class, that should be interface. So we have that finalize callback interface, And let's jump into our API uploader. No, where was it? Actually here, the main class. To run upload, we passing another callback here, so do stuff after the finalizing. When everything is done, when the method like finishes the work, let's call another callback, and that would be like also no, that's not going to be consumer anymore because we created our own interface. That's going to be finalizer callback. Let's call it finalizer callback. Let's call it finalizer. So here we have trying to upload the employee to API. So that's the happy path. Here's the unhappy path. And after everything is done, let's run finalizer, whatever, finalizer, and execute method finito on that, because we created that method right in that function interface method named finito. We can call that method here, finito. So let's jump in now. So that's gonna be our finito method, and that method just doing like a print statement for us. So let's run the code now. It doesn't matter if it's happy path or unhappy path. That's the finito method, right? The callback. We using that callback in all the cases if everything is fine or if there's an error. So let's go back to false here. So let's use happy path. With the happy path as well, we have like happy path and finito. So our callback, like finalized callback. So yeah, that's basically it. So that's the short story about using callbacks. Let's you should actually play with it a little bit if you want and think about your use cases. I think it's very useful. In JavaFX, I'm building some JavaFX apps for fun now. Long time I wasn't playing with JavaFX for like 5-6 years. So in JavaFX, callbacks are quite useful. Anyway, thank you for watching, and I hope you're gonna watch my other videos. Thank you.